Let's talk kingdom. He's the one you can lean on. He don't change, he stays the same. Won't find a better reason, no. So come tap in, just listen. And bring a friend, let's spread this vision.
And Shabbat Shalom. We also speak Shemek Chag Shavu'ot to those of you in the West Coast, Central Mountain Time, and the Pacific Mountain Times. We speak Shemek Chag Shavu'ot. It is a time of learning that we are about to enter into. You will want this one on your records. I promise you. Do not share this. Do not share any of this. This is not a sharing event. This is not something you share. This is for those who are in the know. This is for those who are living this life. This is not for just anybody. So those of you on Facebook, YouTube, do not hit share on this at all. This is a marriage. Pardon me. This is a meal. I meant to say M. This is a meal that Yahweh has put together for us to come and eat in his presence during the hours of his visitation. Shemek Chag Shavu'ot. We've been trying to work on some technical issues, which is why we're late. I thought we could get this thing running and going right, but it's just not happening. So we're going to trust Yahweh that we can get it resolved again expeditiously. So those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, you're going to be seeing our Bibles. You're going to want to be there. So Clubhouse, if you are on, you're going to want to be online today because we're going to be teaching from the writ, seeing it as we read it. There is a reveal. So those of y'all, how many East Coast people we got on here? East Coast, Africa, UK. How many of y'all on here?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. I know some of y'all sleeping. I know y'all barely making it. But will y'all tell the West Coast that we waited for them to get this whole message out? Can y'all just come off mic and say, we waited for y'all?
We waited. We waited. Thank you. Thank you for waiting.
We tarried all night.
TK said we tarried all night.
Yes, sir. G.
She said we tarried all night. Listen, that's good. I like that. Listen, guys, this is going to be mind-blowing. Listen, and those of you who've heard it already, you've been listening to it. Now you're going to hear it. The more you hear what we're about to share with you, the more there's going to open up some things that you were like, I did not see that before. And I want you all to understand it and begin to really, really put it in your view and pay attention to it. So those of you on the West Coast that have been getting your Shavuot in and your compliance together, I want to waive this today because now we have to comply. We're gonna need everybody to come on up in this because this is not an event for everybody. This is for those who are in this lifestyle. So we need everybody, moderators, make sure everybody downstairs gets a microphone to come up. They don't have to use their microphones, but we need to make sure that everybody here, because there are proclamations we will be making. These proclamations are important. They are literally important, and we're going to help you understand why in just a few moments. So you all have come here and have been a part of it. West Coast, you have rendered your seed like everyone else. We're going to talk about that right now, and then we're going to pray. Let's look at what the writ says. Follow this online as well. We want to make sure you guys have this in alignment for your souls. We have only a few minutes to do that before we have to give you the instructions that will carry you into the blessing plan. And then I'm going to talk about the blessing plan. First, I'm going to read it. You're not going to know fully what we're doing. East Coast will. Others will, but I'm going to make sure that everybody understands that after we've done it, so we can get it in under the time that Yahweh has given us. Somebody say he's the God of decency. And listen, y'all need to be by your microphones. We are in a new Sabbath and going into a new Sabbath. So everybody should be free. Nobody should be worried about what they got to do. You're supposed to be free. Y'all supposed to be free. So be prepared to respond, because this passage, this issue needs your voice to decree.
I'm ready.
All right. So stay by your microphones. Carry the phone with you. Carry the iPad with you. Carry the laptop with you from room to room when you roam, because we need you to understand this. All right. Okay. I want everybody to do this right now. Seriously. I want everybody to do this right now. If you're typing in on YouTube, Facebook, on Clubhouse, I want y'all to fill the Clubhouse chat up with I proclaim Shavu'ot. Matter of fact, say this is a holy convocation, a Kodesh Mikra. Make that your statement for the next few minutes. I proclaim Shavuot. This is a holy convocation. Make that your decree. Matter of fact, you know what? Before y'all type it in, let's make it a verbal decree. I'll tell you why in a moment. Everybody come off mic. I'm going to do it with y'all. On the count of 3, we're going to say this is, I proclaim Shavuot. This is a holy convocation. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I proclaim this is a holy convocation. Again, this is not for visitors. Everybody is able to join in. Everybody is welcome. But again, this is for those living this. This is not a let me come see what's going on. This is not a looky-loo type of scenario. This is for those who are in that know. This is for those who are in that compliance, and this is the wave offering, which is compliant with the feast of Shemek. All right, so you got that part in. Now I'm going to tell you why you did that. Let's look at the writ. Let's let Yahweh's word guide us in all things. All righty, everybody go to the book of Leviticus chapter 23, the book of Vayikra chapter 23. I want y'all to get this. This is very important. Vayikra 23, and we're going to start at verse 9. I got to read through this fast to make sure we get the wave completed. Verse 9. Verse 9. You ready? Verse number 9. Here we go. Look at the screen. If you don't have your Bibles, you should, but I'm going to give you that opportunity to do it this way anyway. Look at your Bibles. It's very clear, and I want you to catch this. Verse number 9. Vayikra 23:9. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When you come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then you shall bring the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. You shall wave the sheaf. You shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh to be accepted for you. Get by your microphones. Get by your microphones. Get by your microphones. Here it comes. Say that this is accepted for me. Say it.
This is accepted for me.
So verse 11 says this very clearly, and he shall, verse 11, the priest shall wave the sheaf offering before Yahweh to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Shabbat, the priest shall wave it. Verse 12, you shall wave that offer that day when you wave the sheaf of a he-lamb without blemish of the first year, and a burnt offering. 13, that is Pesach. That is the first fruit. That is Yom HaBikurim. That is the first fruit day. Right? That's when Messiah resurrected from the grave. Verse 13, and the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, and offering made by fire unto Yahweh for a sweet savor. The drink offering thereof shall be of wine, a fourth part of a hin. You shall, verse 14, not eat anything until you have brought that offering to Yahweh on that day. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. That is that is the first fruits of Pesach. Verse 15, and you shall count unto you from the morrow after that first fruit. From the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, you're going to count 7 Sabbaths until they be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall you number 50 days. You shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahweh. You shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baking with leaven. They are the first fruits of Yahweh. Verse 18, listen and pay attention. You shall offer the bread for 7 lambs. You shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto Yahweh with their meat offering, their drink offering, and even the offering made by fire of sweet savor. All of this is unto Yahweh. That's your responsibility. Verse 19, then you shall offer 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of the peace offering. Everybody come off mic, say, this is the shalom. Everybody come off and say, this is the shalom.
This is the shalom.
Okay, now I want y'all to remember that. I want y'all to remember that. I want y'all to remember that. Veronica, you're going to remind me later on to talk about the shalom offering, the peace offering. Got it, Veronica?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now let's go to verse number 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before Yahweh with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy unto Yahweh for the priest. And you shall proclaim, here it is, verse 21, and you shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be a holy convocation unto you. You shall do no work in that day, and this will be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. Now, verse 21 is where we're going to focus our time at because we have very little. And you shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be a holy convocation unto you. You shall do no servile work. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Listen again. Verse 21. You, once you gave your 2 lambs and your 2 loaves, once you've given your meat offering that Yahweh prescribed, you have to proclaim on that very same day that this day is a holy convocation unto you. You live in more of a voice-activated kingdom than you think. Now, I take my time breaking these things down because I know how long it took me to get it from the years before. But now you have to understand that it is time for us to stop drinking milk and start chewing on some meat. But we want to do it very cautiously so you don't get any kind of bad things. So must understand that it says you shall proclaim, not the priest. You have to proclaim in that day that it is a holy convocation. Now, the reason that's important is because holy convocation means something important. That should be a mind blow, and I get it's not that right yet, but it will be shortly. So therefore, Zion, we have 2 things to do. He tells us that we must wave that offering before him. The priest shall wave it, and then you shall proclaim it the selfsame day that it may be a holy convocation unto you. So right now, we're going to take opportunity to pray over and conclude as we understand the Feast of Shavuot. Shemek Chag Shavuot will be over shortly in just a few moments. And now we're going to bring it to conclusion. The Moedim of Yahweh our Elohim, the Shavuot, this is the wave. We're celebrating the giving of the Torah and the instructions. Everyone that has given, everyone who has made your vow and your pledge, if you have not given your vow, if you have not made your pledge, if you have not gotten your seed, your reasonable service in the ground, please consider doing it now. Go to vwjministries.com because this is the conclusion of the day of Shavuot. Maybe you're saying, well, I get it. I read it. I'm convicted, but I don't. Just make a pledge to Yahweh. Give him a best. I have so many that did. I do have all the names for all the businesses. I thank y'all for doing it the way it was instructed. I have all these beautiful businesses that from the income streams you have given what Yahweh's required. That is 2 loaves of bread. And then you've given 2 lambs per each income stream, your harvest. Yahweh requires that. Those of you who have done that and given that, and then you put that and attribute it to your businesses. We have the names right here. I'm going to be waving them. And this now is the prayer. In Talit, I want everybody to fall in a place of prayer at this moment. Father, we come before you in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. We thank you for this opportunity. We thank you that you have given us a plan that causes us to prosper in the world. We know that there are certain things that we have done and put ourselves in the middle of, but we trust you that now today you have shown us yet again more of what you want from us and how you desire it to be done. We at this moment deem you Lord of our harvest. We proclaim, everybody, come off mic. Proclaim Shavuot. Proclaim holy convocation.
Holy convocation.
Yahweh, we come before you now. We have the offerings in hand. We have the businesses in hand. We have the income streams in hand. And we wave this offering from the east to the west. I wave this physically and literally before you from the north and to the south, typifying and symbolizing the entire circumference of the globe that you've given us to live in. For you are Yahweh Shema. You sit on the circle of the earth and you bless based on our obedience to your instructions in the earth. So, Father, this day, every name that has been named, even the ones that are coming in right now, if they're coming in, Father, you know their heart. They didn't think they could. They felt ashamed. But Father, your conviction of them, I pray you now that as they've done it and they've gone ahead and put it through, that you will hear their name the moment that they started to go forward to get their contribution in. We now wave these names before you on their behalf as being present for the blessings of the holy convocation, for the barakah, for the barak of the Chodesh Mikra. They are present. And we have been present with you in this season. We now have waved as you have complied, you have asked us to do. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we pray and deem you the Lord of our harvest. You said you would add increase. You would bless our increase. We have concluded the day of Shavuot in your order. You are the Elohim of all creation. You are the Elohim of decent and order. And we have complied with your instructions. And we thank you, praise you, and give you glory. Everything that matters to us, we give to you. You know what we have need of, and we bless you in light of it. In the mighty name of Yahshua HaMashiach, we have waved on behalf of all that have contributed and those that are even at this moment. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we all say, everybody, come on, say Amen.
Amen.
Now, I'm going to say this. I've been talking all day, so y'all need to know my throat is a little bit tired, so I'm going to do my very best to get this out for you all. Now, understand this. Coming into this type of knowledge, please check your microphones. Coming into this type of knowledge, everybody check your microphone, please. Coming into this type of knowledge, many people forget that we just follow suit and we play sheeple. But Yahweh wants you to understand you're not a sheeple. You are his children. His instructions are for you. And many people have done this without understanding why. But tonight, you're going to learn today. So what we have now, leaving from a Moedim, entering into another Shabbat Shalom. So now those of you on the West Coast, you are officially out of your Shabbat of the Shavuot. You are now in a new Shabbat Shalom, 7th day Shabbat. And we speak that Shalom over you. You're going to see something here. Let's read and let the word do the talking for us. Now, the Omer offering, which is known as a Korban Omer, or it's known as the sheaf offering. It was an offering or a korban that was made by the priests of the tabernacle in Jerusalem. And the offering consisted of one omer, which would be freshly harvested and was waved in the tabernacle. It was offered on Pesach, on the Yom HaBikurim, and it signaled the beginning of the 49 days of the counting of the Omer, which concluded with the Shavuot holy day. That's just ended. As well, it gave permission to begin to consume the grains from the new harvest. the Chadesh. The Omer offering was just one example of a wave offering known as Tanufa, which was to be waved in the tabernacle. Now, Yahweh did speak unto Moshe, as we've been told, and we know from Vayikra chapter 22, 23, verse 9. Then Yahweh spake unto Moshe and saying, speak unto the sons and the children of Israel and say unto them, when you enter the land which I'm going to give you and you reap its harvest, then you shall bring in the sheaf of your first fruits. When you reap its harvest in the land I give you, you will bring in per those harvests the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest, and you'll bring it to the Kohanim. Verse 11 says, you shall wave that sheaf before Yahweh for you to be accepted on the day after the Shabbat. That's when the priest shall wave it. Now, I want to make sure we understand this, because your first fruit offerings of Yom HaBikurim was a lamb, some grain, some wine, and some oil. Well, in the Shavuot Shavuot first fruits, it is 2 lambs and 2 loaves of bread that are baked with leaven. These things are imperative to understand, because Yahweh is now increasing you. When they left out of Egypt, they had to go without the time of waiting for it to rise, and Yahweh wanted it to be unleavened. Now you're eating the leavened bread. Now watch what happens here with the instructions that Yahweh gives us. I want you to pay attention to Leviticus chapter number 23 yet again. This is so key, so important. Verse 21, Leviticus 23:21, Vayikra 23:21 says, and you shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be a Kodesh Mikra to you. Thus you must remember what King David did. King David said very clearly, Yahweh is my shepherd. Unfortunately, within Christendom and much of our religiosity and churchiosity, we just thought it was a cute phrase and a cute psalm, because everybody knew to pray the Psalms. You just pray the Psalms. You know, when you pray the Psalms, God hears you. You know, that's just what you do. No. David was making a decree and making something very clear for us to understand. And then now this time of Shabbat, which you are in, we can talk about this in some sense of clarity. David was saying with his mouth, Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. He make me lie down in green pastures. He lead me beside still water. His rod and his staff, they comfort me. And though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, because he is my shepherd. He made a decree. Yahweh, David wasn't just doing that. David understood this principle. You and I, watch verse 21. Look at it. Please read it. This gets real good. Please read verse 21 with me. Come on, y'all. Watch what it says. And you have to proclaim on that day. Let me read verse 19 again. Then you shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. Now, you all know that you no longer give a kid offering for sin, because Messiah is the sin offering. Do we all agree that Messiah is the sin offering for all sin?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes.
we no longer do that part in verse 19, because Messiah is the sin offering. But we do 19 part B, we do offer the 2 lambs of the first year for the sacrifice of what kind of offering, y'all?
Shalom. Shalom.
Okay, so if Yahweh is always telling us to speak shalom over each other, and there is an offering for shalom, why would he have that offering done away with? And though you speak shalom to your brother, and though we say Shabbat shalom to our brother, to our sister, you must understand that there is a definite delineation in a Sabbath shalom versus a 6 days of work shalom. There is a definite delineation between a Moedim shalom and a 6-day and or a 7th day shalom. Oh, I get this part. I love this part. So when he tells you, in order for this to have the benefit for you, you have to proclaim it. Everybody say, I live in a voice activated kingdom.
I live in a more saturated kingdom.
So there was a reason Yahweh would want us to be proclaiming the days even until the day that as they drew nigh, as they draw near. Yahweh works in a level of expectation. But watch what verse 19 says, y'all. He says, you're going to offer the two lambs. Verse 20, the priest shall wave it for you, right? Verse 21, and you, the giver of the sacrifice, must proclaim it on that day in order for that day to be a Kodesh Mikral to you. You must proclaim that that day was a holy convocation for you, because if you don't, the blessings of that do not fall to you. Look at this, y'all. That's why I had y'all proclaim it. Look at this. Can I teach y'all? Can I go deeper?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Please.
Sir.
Now, many I can't keep out today because we can't get what we need to do. But this is not for the looky-loo. This is not for just a visitor. This is for those who are in this lifestyle. You understand it, they won't. So don't be bothered by any negative or animosity that might be sent, or any kind of thing that comes out of it saying, "Oh, you doing too much. That's some craziness." Please, you already know. Pay attention to the writ. Chapter 23, Vayikra. 21 says, you shall proclaim on the selfsame day, in order for it that it may be a Kodesh Mikral to you. Is that an instruction, y'all?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Look at the Strong's index for that word. I'm going to put up on the screen. So those of you who are not viewing my Bible on camera, you can go to VWJ Ministries on Facebook or YouTube, or I think even on .com. But just go to Facebook or YouTube, VWJ Ministries, and you'll see the Bible. Watch this, because we're going to do a lot of this Bible, and you're going to be looking at it the whole time we're talking. The Strong's dictionary for that word being Kodesh. Please, everybody, check your microphones. That word being Kodesh Mikra. 21, you shall proclaim on the selfsame day, that very day, that it may be a Kodesh Mikra, a holy convocation to you. This is why Yahweh says, be ye holy, for I am holy. Now, I've been playing with this, keeping it in your hearing, so that when the moment comes for the reveal, you'll be ready and have already been oiled up with this so you can get it. So now what happens next is this, that at the end of the day, all things work to his good, right? So at the end of the day, all things work to his good. Look at what he does in this next part. He makes this piece very clear. I need somebody to read this for me. One more time. Look at the screen. Look at Strong's dictionary. Look at it. It's Strong's index H6944. Now watch this. It is called Kodesh. That word holy is the word Kodesh. Are y'all hearing this? That word holy is called Kodesh. Now, when he says, be ye Kodesh, be ye holy, for I am holy, what he is saying to you is, be ye in this place. Watch what Kodesh means. Everybody read this from the definition. The word comes from the definition of 6942, which means a root word meaning to make, pronounce, or observe something as clean. Whether it's ceremonially or moral, it is still the word Kodesh. It means to appoint something, to bid something, to consecrate, to dedicate, to hallow, for something to be kept holy or holier as a place. Keep it, prepare for it, proclaim it, purify, sanctify, be sanctified, sanctify oneself in it, and make yourself holy. Look at this, y'all. That's what Kodesh means. That's the root word for the word holy in the verse 21, which is 6944. Watch what it means. 6944, Kodesh means a sacred place or thing. Watch this. Rarely is it abstract, but it is sanctity. Watch this, y'all. It is a consecrated thing. Watch this, y'all. It is a dedicated thing. Watch this, y'all. It is a hollowed out thing. Watch this, y'all. It is holiness. It is most holy. It is, in fact, watch this, by day, look, y'all, a portion. It is a thing. Did y'all hear that? For the saints in the sanctuary. Let me blow your mind for a second. When you were reading that psalm all the time, talking about, oh, my help comes out the sanctuary. He gives me help out the sanctuary. Y'all thought he was talking about your little Christian church on 4th and Broad. He was not talking about that sanctuary. He was talking about help comes from this Kadesh place. Be ye in Kadesh because I'll be in Kadesh. Be ye holy because I'll be holy. Be ye at the sacred place at the sacred time for these blessings and things that I've hallowed out and got set for you. These portions, these things that I'm giving to those who are saintly and those who will meet me in the sanctuary. Oh my goodness, that's a brain blow. I need y'all to help me with these emojis. Listen, I am not preaching to you. I am showing you what the writ says. So when you use the word, this is what I try to tell people. Stop just because you get a revelation thinking Yahweh told you something or shared something with you. You must understand it in its core. You must understand it for its intentions. You must understand it in its place and in its space. And these are the things you have to realize. Watch this. Got to wet my whistle. Listen, you must understand this, that Yahweh says, when you proclaim that day, Kodesh, I want y'all to say, I proclaimed it holy. I proclaimed it Kodesh. Come on, say it. Come on. I need my young children out there. Y'all parents, put these young children on the microphone for me. Young people, y'all say, I did that. Young people say, I did that. I did that. I love it. I did that. I proclaimed that day Kodesh. That's why you must proclaim it. You look at verse 21 again, y'all. You can't unread this. So you want to, you can't unread it. And you shall proclaim the day Kodesh unto you. So you are proclaiming, this is just the one word, Kodesh. So you must proclaim that day a holy, a Kodesh, a sacred portion for the saints that I get out of the sanctuary. And then it says you must proclaim that Kodesh convocation, Mikra. The word is H4744. Look at it, Zion. Look at it. I'm giving it to you so you can see it yourself. It means from 7121, the word is Mikra, but its root comes from 7121. Watch this. It says the primitive root, rather identical with 7122, through the idea, listen, of accosting a person that has been met. This is why Yahweh says, look, y'all, this is why Yahweh says, my thoughts are not like your thoughts. He also says, I know my plans concerning you, plans of good, not of evil, plans to give you, an expected end. That means you got to meet him at a particular place. So when he says it is a primitive root word, the word is kara, coming from mikra. Watch this. It says that through the ideal of accosting a person that has been met, to call out to someone, properly addressed by name, but used in a wide variety of applications, it means to bewray oneself, that are bidden, that are called for, that are called forth, that are called upon, and cry out unto them, that will make them famous. Oh, y'all don't get this. They are made a guest at Yahweh's meal. They are invited by Elohim himself. They are made mention. Somebody say, my name was on the VIP list. Come on. Listen, so he says now, he says he gives you a name. Remember how Jacob was named Jacob, but then when he came completely full circle with Elohim, he gave him his name of Israel. You will be given a name. Yahweh gives you a name that listen, you now begin to proclaim or make the proclamation or pronounce the things that you have understood from this accosting and from this stuff that you're learning. You are now going to publish and read this stuff. It is a renowned thing. You will now be able to say of a surety what it is that you have in Kara. Now that's just Kara. That's the primitive word for Mikra. Look now at the convocation word Mikra. It is 4744. It is a word. Oh, I'm sorry. I messed up. I took y'all to 7122. Let's go 7121. Let's go now to 7122. Look at the word. It is also kara. It means, listen. It means as a primitive root to encounter. What? Wait a minute. Whether accidentally or in a hostile manner, something will befall you. It could be by chance, but there is that chance. It causes something to come up on you, fall out on you, happen to you, meet you. Somebody shout, Kara. Now listen to what it says. Now these are the words that give us the derivative of the word mikra. So you had 71:21 that told you that you will be able to have stuff fall upon you and happen unto you. Here you're going to have things meet up on you. That goes in alignment with Deuteronomy, Devarim chapter 28, verses 1. I want to go there very quickly. We're going to come back to Leviticus 23:21. I'm going to change the screen so y'all pay attention on Facebook and YouTube. Watch it. Deuteronomy 28. Remember, these things will fall upon you. These things will meet you. These things will overtake you. These things will fall out on you. These things will happen to you. Look at verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments, all his mitzvahs, his commandments, all these things that are ordinances to him, which I give you command for this day, that Yahweh will set you on high above the nations of the earth. And all these barakah, all these blessings shall come on you, shall overtake you, if you hearken, if you obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. So verse 2, that word hearken is the word, in fact, shema. Now let's go to verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently. I want y'all to get this. Pay attention. If you shall hearken diligently. What's that word hearken mean? That word is also the word shema, right? But he says, if you will come and you will hearken diligently, it means to hear his word intelligently. Some of y'all are hearing writings and people speaking, and you're not being intelligent about what Yahweh said because you're trying to make a point about something. You can't make a point and then put this to God's word. You must understand. He says you must intelligently hear. What it means oftentimes is, by implication, pay attention. By implication, it means obey, but you have to intelligently hear and pay attention to know what to obey. Stop coming up with theories and ideals because they sound good in your intellect. He then says, causatively, you will be able to, when you shema, you'll be able to be attentive. You'll be able to call these things that are, you'll call as gathered. You'll come together. It'll be carefully. If you will hearken, you will be certain about what he said. You will consent to what he says. You will consider what he says. You will be content with what he says. You will declare what he says. You will be diligent about what he says. You will discern what he says. You will give ear to what he says. You will cause to let go or make yourself to hear what he says. You will hearken unto. You will hear and then tell. You will indeed come. You will listen to him. You will make a noise proclaiming what he says to proclaim. You will be obedient. You will obey. You will perceive. You will make a proclamation. You will publish his truth. You will regard his report. You will show forth and make a sound of his decree. You will surely tell with understanding. Whosoever hears will become as you are a witness. Do y'all now understand what Shema means?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, I need y'all to stay with me. Don't get lost. Y'all stay with me. We're in celebration on this time. You have now understanding what Shavuot does for you. So now, verse 1, Devarim 28. We're going to go back to Leviticus 23 in a minute, but Devarim 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, you shall hearken, you shall shema. Then he says, diligently. Well, guess what, y'all? The word diligent is the same exact word as shema. It means the same exact thing. To hear intelligently, by implication, pay attention, be obedient, be attentive, call together, come together, carefully, certainly, consent, consider, content, declare, diligent, discern, give ear to. All that is Shema. He says this twice in the same sentence. No one paid attention. Because when you call those things as heaven, in heaven, as they would be in the earth, however you call them in the earth, they are already in the heavens. So when you hearken diligently, when you intelligently listen to Yahweh, both in the earth and in the spirit realm, you're listening to the instructions of Yahweh, unto the voice of Yahweh, your Elohim, to observe these things, to do his instructions. then Yahweh will set you on high above all the nations of the earth. And all these blessings, all these, here it is. There's that word better call. Look at this, y'all. Look at this, y'all. Look at this, y'all. Y'all better stay with me. If y'all sleep, go home. Listen, look at this. This is deep. He says, this is the better call. Verse 2, and all these better call, all these benedictions. This is going to be a benediction. By implication, it means prosperity. By implication, it means the blessings, liberal, a pool of them, and they will always be present. Now, this word has another derivative from 1288. 1288 says Barak. Y'all remember that one, don't you? So if you kneel by implication to bless Elohim as an act of adoration, vice versa, Elohim will then kneel to man as a benefit to man. Also, it could mean a curse, but it really does mean that Yahweh will, in fact, depending on how you respond to him and Barak him, he will give back to you abundantly, altogether, all together. He will just simply Baruch you. Pardon me, y'all got me. I gotta calm down because I get too excited about this. I've been waiting to give this to y'all all night long. And so West Coast, y'all the reason we're gonna keep this thing going. Now watch this. Devarim 28 tells you to Shema. And then he will cause these things to overtake you, if you will hearken to the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. They will literally overtake you. They will nosag. That means that they will reach out literally and give you the ability, make you able, cause themselves to attain unto you, make you have the be able to, can do, can get, lay at your feet, put in your reach, remove, wax you rich, surely overtake you, hold on you, hold upon you, and hold of you all things Elohim. Somebody shout Nasar. Oh, I think I've lost y'all. I think y'all getting here. I think they're getting tired of hearing this voice. Y'all better catch this. This is what's happening in this season. Now watch this. Devarim 28, verse number 2. All these better call, all these blessings, by implication, all these blessings, they will be liberal, they will be a pool, and they will be present. Somebody say that's the benediction.
That's the benediction.
Hallelujah.
That's the benediction.
Is anybody excited about this? Because I still got so much more to share.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah.
Now, I don't want y'all to be those typical Christians who want everything. Oh, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Oh, give me, I want to get all I can. I want to get all I can, and don't can all they get. Now, some of y'all didn't hear me. Don't be those typical believers and Christians and churchgoers and Bible thumpers who want to say, oh, yeah, give me all I can get. Oh, teach me that. Oh, yeah, share that with me. And you don't can what you get. But you want all you can, but you don't can what you get. Then you take this stuff away from the place you got it and go home and let it rot on your table or rot in your refrigerator in some Tupperware. And then got to be thrown out. And you never used it for its glory that it was potentially to give you. Do not be those who give me all I can get. Oh, go ahead and preach. Teach me, sir. Teach me, ma'am. And you get it all and you take it away from the table, but you do not can what you get. You do not preserve what you get because you just get it home and flop it down indiscriminately and disrespectfully on the table, drop it in the refrigerator, forget about it 7, 8, 9 days and come back in. It's a science project. Growing roots, turning green, smelling foul.
Yes, sir.
So I want y'all to get this. Let's go back to Leviticus 23. So now y'all understand what Barakah mean, right? Now you understand that this is a prosperity, right? So when you honor Yahweh, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 21, he says to you, any one of his holy convocation days, they are mikra. They are something that must be called out. They are a public meeting. Isn't that what we've had today? Isn't that what we've done in the Moedim? We come out in public to meet together because he called us to this day. They are an act, they are the persons, and they are the thing. They are the place. Watch this. Also, they are rehearsals. They are assemblies. They are callings. They are convocations so we can come and read. What are we reading? Well, let's go back to this primitive word of 7121. Look at your screen, right hand side. That 7121 is a chorale, meaning that through the ideal of accosting a person that has been met. So he wants to meet you in that day. So if you don't proclaim that day, verse 21, you shall proclaim that self same day. You give that offering, you must proclaim. You must proclaim. I don't care if you gave it an offering. If you don't proclaim it to be a holy convocation, it won't be unto you. So you can stop saying, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. You got to proclaim it.
I proclaim Shavu'ot, the holy convocation.
I proclaim Shavuot, a holy convocation.
You did that in that day. That day is now gone. You did that in that day. That day is now gone. Yahweh be praised. That's why I told you I'm going to have y'all do something you wouldn't understand until we got into the teachings of it. But now you know where it comes from. We don't just do things here. We don't just pop off with statements and comments about what God is doing and what's going on over here and what's going on over there. We have to make it for real attached, not attached. It has to come from his word. Our intellect does not play out here. He wants us to intelligently listen, meaning he wants us to pay attention to what he is saying. So when he tells you that the Kodesh Mikra is a thing, every time Yahweh gives us a high holy day, it is a place where blessings are designed to overtake you and trigger in the heavens and in the earth the blessings for you. So when we come together and call together into a holy assembly, that's why King David could say, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into, let us go into the house of Yahweh our Elohim. King David was very specific. Now, we modern day Christians, we done took that thing thinking we got some entitlement and we got our own definition of what that means and what that say. But David was not saying that. He didn't say, this is the day that Yahweh has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it because they came to church on Wednesday. He was speaking about that for the seventh day Shabbat. He then said, this is what we call that time. I was glad when they said unto me, let's go into the house of Yahweh. I will enter into his gates with thanksgiving. I will enter into his courts with praise. Because that day, for those who understand it in the spirit realm, you might not see nothing in the natural realm, but you will see it not come long from now. When you come in, just honor him for what he wants. He then begins to trigger in that day everything you would need for the days to come.
Amen.
Look at what 21 says. You will never read this verse again the same. It will affect. Let me give you a warning. This will affect the way you read the Bible from this day forward. You have to proclaim. Verse 21, Vayikra 23:21, Leviticus 23:21. You have to proclaim on that self same day. You have to proclaim on Pesach. You have to proclaim on Yom Bikurim. You have to proclaim on the days of on the days of Hagat Matzah. You must proclaim on the days of Hag HaBikurim, Shavuot. You must proclaim in Sukkah, Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur. That's when the day becomes a convocation day to you, a blessing day for you, a holy, consecrated, already set aside before the foundations of the world blessing to meet you, pull up on you, pour over you, and the heavens open up for you because Yahweh's promise of Devarim 28 is manifested and triggered by your compliance to his holy day. That's why he said you must observe and do what he has asked for. That, Zion, is what these feasts do for us. Now, it's very interesting because Yahweh says there must be a peace offering, a shalom offering. Has anybody considered what shalom means? Many of us have. You know this. We teach this. We share this. We've been talking to you about this forever. But look what shalom is. In order for you to have that shalom well understood, you have to understand that there are 13 attributes of shalom. That means there is fruit connected to shalom. There is harmony. There is wholeness. There is health. There is soundness of mind. There is completeness. There is fullness. There is rest for your soul. There is wealth. There is safety. There is tranquility. There is prosperity. There is perfectness. There is welfare for your being. So when you bring your two lambs, according to the writ in verse number 2019, when you bring those two lambs, you are giving an offering to this. No, you're not buying an offering, but you are rendering by his prescription for the benefit and the manifesting of this in a seasonal form over your life. Now he becomes the Lord of your harvest. Now he becomes the Lord of your harvest. It is the shalom offering. It is the peace offering. And people will look at you weird as that don't make sense. It don't matter what they think. Just look at the writ. It tells you everything he thinks. I don't care what you think. I care what his word says and thinks. Now I want y'all to pay attention. Are y'all being blessed by this? Are y'all learning? Has this been worth your wait, East Coast? We almost there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, West Coast, I want y'all to get this because this gets deep right here. Now, when King David does something, he makes this statement. He says in Psalms chapter number 20, Psalms chapter 133, and then I got to move on. So everybody got this part so far, y'all, West Coast. So we almost done before we give everybody the end result of this. So this part is what everybody has so far. So we're going to catch you up to this last point. In Psalms 133, look at the screen if you are on if you're out here. Look at Psalms 133. King David says, "Behold, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity." What does that mean, dwell together? Oh, it means yoshab. It is technically connected to another shab you got. Watch this. It means to sit down somewhere. Specifically as judge in an ambush. By implication, it means to dwell somewhere. It means to remain somewhere. Did he not call us to meet him in a public meeting and stay there? Then he says it causatively means to settle down, to marry yourself there, to make there, to abide there, to be abiding, to continue there, to cause yourself to make you to dwell there, to ease self, to endure, to establish and not fail, to habitate, to haunt that area, make you to inhabit and be an inhabitant, make you to keep that house, be lurking in that space, be married to that space. Bring in yourself to that place, remain, return there, be seated, settle down, sit down, be still, down, take, tarry. That means wait. So when he says, "Behold, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity," they are in a Kodesh Moedim, a Kodesh Mikra. Say it right, Jones. They are in a Kodesh Mikra. This is a high holy day conversation this man is having. They know how important this day is. Look at what David says. "Behold, how good and pleasant." Let's see what the word good means. The word good is the word tobeh. It means good as an objective from the word 2895, which is also the word tobeh. It means transitively to do or to make good or well. In the widest sense, it means to be or to do and always better, to have cheer, to be, to do, to seem good, to make goodly, to be pleasing, be or do or play or go well. Then the second word is the word pleasant. That is the word naim. It means to be delightful, subjective. Watch this, literally or figuratively. It is pleasant, pleasant shore. It is something sweet. But go back to the word good, the word tobeh, H2896. from H2895. It means good in its widest sense. It means used likewise as a noun, both in the masculine and in the feminine. But let's move down a little bit. It means you will then be good, a good or a good thing, a good man or a good woman. It will be meaning good and goods or good things and good men or women. Also, it's an adverb meaning well, beautiful, best, better, bountiful, cheerful, at ease, fair, word, be in favor, fine, glad, good, good deed, goodlier, goodliest, goodly, goodness, graciously, joyful, kind, kindness, likes, the best, loving, merry, most pleasant, pleasing, pleasurable. That means precious, prosperity, ready, sweet, wealth, welfare, to be well, to be favored. I am doing my best to get this message out to y'all, and I hope y'all mouths are sitting there wide open, realizing we've been reading these things so wrong. So Yahweh says this through David. David says, behold, brothers. David is the king of the nation, and he is saying to the brethren of his nation, the brothers of his faith, oh, I was glad when they said unto me, let's go to the house of Yahweh. Behold, brothers, how good and how pleasant it is for us to dwell together here in unity. That word unity means yachab. It means properly become a unit. It means be alike, all at once, meaning all together with everybody on one accord. When we do that, it's like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down the beard of Aaron, even Aaron's beard that went down the skirts of his garment, as the dew of Hermon, as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there, in that unity, Yahweh commanded the blessings, even life evermore. Can I break this down? Can I give this to y'all? Are y'all ready for this piece? Watch this, because this gets real deep. I need to know if y'all ready. Are y'all ready? I can't tell y'all ready. Ain't nobody making comment. Are y'all ready?
Ready. Yes, sir. Ready.
Watch what he says here. Let's look at this verse. So when you read verse 1, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity, look at what he says here in the next verse. Go down to verse 3. He says, as the dew of Hermon, that's part A. But read part B. For there, in that unity, Yahweh commanded, not commands. So when he says, come into and proclaim a Kodesh Mikra, those days have already been pre-blessed for you and me, but we can't get them unless we proclaim them in that self same day. Because when we come together in unity, Yahweh already has commanded blessings for us to receive in that day. And those blessings, you're not walking home like your church convocation, like your church program. The church is gonna have its annual convocation. We're gonna go to Disney World. We're gonna go to we're gonna go to Clementon Park, or we're gonna go over to this city. We're gonna have it at the Peabody, and we're gonna all go in and have the bishop tell us what the plan and the state of our church is, the state of our denomination is, and hallelujah, we're gonna have our church convention, and y'all can bring your children. We go to Disney World, and we're gonna go to SeaWorld, and everybody can just take your children and go over there, and we'll have days and things for the children, and we'll have praise dance and all that stuff. This ain't that. And then when you come to that particular thing, we're gonna have door prizes when you come in, and then we're gonna be giving away cruises. Someone blessed us with cruises. We're gonna give you guys some tickets to cruises, and then we're gonna have raffle tickets and all of that stuff. And so you should come. Everybody should join in. Y'all need to go ahead and get your assessments in. We're gonna be setting this up, and all of our travel agents within our church, they're trying to get their discount so we can make it a better discount for you. So everybody start preparing, because the actual thing is going to be in 11 months. It's going to be $1,000 per person. So if you got 4 people in your family, you want to start putting that money away every month, and so we can all go down together and be a part of our congregation, have our convention down there, and just have some fun and get away and make this a day that we don't go to work. Our children are going to be out of school, And if we can get it to be done in the summertime where the children don't miss those days, we'll be okay. So we're going to take our children and we're going to go down there. We're going to have commanding. We're going to be having people going to be giving. We got some of our hairstylists. They're going to be giving away free hairstyles. Our barbers going to be giving away free cuts. Some of you are going to be able to go to stores and get discounts from Macy's because we got a manager that works at Macy's. And, all these things, y'all, we're just going to be blessed to go down there, So go ahead and get your $1,000 per person, get it prepared, give it up. You're going to pay that every month, get your assessments and meet us for that. Y'all listen to me. Listen. Yahweh's convocations ain't nothing like yours.
Amen.
You ain't got to look up under your seat and look to see what number you got to see who's going to get the prize of makeup from MAC or L'Oreal. You ain't got to look under to see who's going to get the new bundle of the good hair and who's going to get the whole assortment of eyebrows for 12 months. Who's going to get, water provided no, this ain't it. Yahweh says, listen, when we come and we dwell together in unity, Yahweh commands the blessing. He commanded the blessing in that day. That's why you have to proclaim that day a blessing. You have to proclaim that day Kodesh. That's why he says, be ye holy, for I am holy. Be ye Kodesh, because I am Kodesh. Proclaim my Kodesh. Proclaim the day that I said. Honor me in the day that I gave you. Y'all don't believe me? Go to Isaiah chapter number 58. We've been keeping it in front of you for years. I do it so that when the time comes and the revelations hits, you'll have no problem receiving it. Look at Isaiah 58:13. If you turn your foot away from the Shabbat, from doing your pleasure on my, what day, y'all? What day, y'all? Tell me what day. Tell me what day. I need somebody to tell me what day. What day. Come on.
Shabbat.
Kodesh. If you turn away your foot from the Shabbat, from doing your pleasure on my Kodesh day, and if you will call the Shabbat a delight, call it Kodesh of Yahweh, call it honorable, and will honor him, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasures, nor speaking your own words, then Yahweh will delight himself. You will be found as delighting in Yahweh, and he will cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth. He will feed you with the heritage of Jacob. We made a statement to you guys the other night. I don't know how many of y'all caught it, how many of y'all kept it. Listen, I want y'all to catch this. But this is true. You have been taught through Christendom and churchiosity and just the civil works of everything that we do in Christian, basically in environments, that you must work to be fed. You must work to have food. Now, man don't work, he don't eat. There's a reason for that. But Yahweh put you on earth to work for him, not to work for you. You work for him, he feeds you.
Yeah.
Amen.
You do the will of him that sent you. Now, don't y'all go getting deep and being all of faith and, I'm taking a leap of faith. I'm going to stop working at my job. Don't do like I did, thinking that Yahweh told me, oh, well, you can't sell beer and me at the same time. And I went out and said, okay, well, I'm going to stop working for the beer company because I do love God. Now, it was a great, strong faith move. Yes, you got zeal, but you have no wisdom. And I went ahead and stopped working at the place that was giving me one of the best jobs I'd ever had because of my conviction in immaturity. But now I do what he sent me to do, and he feeds me. Y'all didn't catch that.
Yes. Amen.
Do y'all get that?
Hallelujah.
When you do what he has asked you to do, when you till the ground, that's why he made man, to till the ground. You till the ground, Yahweh feeds you. You don't believe me? Well, let's look back here at Isaiah 58 again. He says, look at the words, verse 13. if you turn away your foot from Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my Kodesh day, if you will call the Sabbath a delight, if you will call the Sabbath Kodesh of Yahweh, if you will call the Sabbath honorable, if you will honor him, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasures, nor speaking your words, then you will be found delighting in me. Then I will cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth, and I'll feed you. He didn't tell you to work in verse 13, did he, y'all? He told you to rest. So wait a minute. You mean if I rest and do what he say do, he makes me get the big job over the other people? If I rest and do what he say do and don't cheat him and comply with him, he will feed me. And then he's gonna feed me with the heritage of Jacob. Y'all not talking to me. I think I put y'all. I think y'all put to sleep.
I'm awake.
Yahweh be praised.
Yahweh be praised.
Yahweh be praised.
No, Yahweh
I'm
be
resting.
no, I'm awake. Yahweh be praised.
I'm awake and resting.
So when he tells us to do this, this is a serious issue, people. When he told you in Leviticus 23:19, he was very specific. Going into Leviticus 23, verse 21, he said, I need you to proclaim this day. I need you to proclaim the self same day. When you bring me the offering I asked for, that offering is a shalom offering. And when you bring me the little shalom that I asked for, I'm going to pour shalom out on you as a harvest. Men and women will give into your bosom, good measure, pressed down, running together, shall they give into your bosom, along with the Deuteronomy 28 blessing that I put on you because you have intelligently obeyed my instructions and observed them to do them. We do way too
much.
Thank you, Yah.
Can I say this? Some of the stuff we do in church, some of the stuff we do, saying we do whatever we do way too damnable much. We damn ourselves in our efforts of false piety, in our efforts of false humility and righteousness, and our interpretation of what Yahweh wants from us. And Yahweh, like, you doing too much. I can't even bless you. You ain't nowhere near me. You dress like me. You in a building where I'm supposed to be meeting y'all, but you ain't nowhere in that mentality I need you to be at. I can't even pour this out on you because you're not in position.
Come on, Apostle.
And you shall proclaim. Verse 21, look at it, Zion. And you shall proclaim. Somebody say, I got to make that proclamation.
I gotta make that
proclamation.
So Yahweh wants you to show up. Yahweh wants you to present. And Yahweh wants you to speak what he says.
Yes, sir.
This is what Shavuot is about. Why? Why is that so important? Why is that so deep? Because when Yahweh gives us Shavuot, he tells us what he wants us to do and where he wants it to be. He then gives you an instruction. Watch this. Again, here is the blessing of Shavuot, which you just came out of. And those of you, even though some of y'all didn't know what y'all did, when I tell you to make a decree, I wish you would stop thinking he just want to hear people talk on his platform. And then you come off all low energy. When I tell you to make a decree, it's not my thing. It's his word for you. That's the job of a leader, to get you to say his word in your atmosphere so the producer of that word can appear. I'm tired. I don't feel like talking.
Hallelujah.
I don't feel like talking. He always wants us to say something. I can't be by the phone all them times. I can't be. Just I'll do the next one. Okay.
Thank you, Apostle.
So what Yahweh is trying to get you to understand is that you have to make the proclamation. You can't get into heaven on my coattails. I can't get in on yours. You got to put the work in yourself. You must proclaim that day holy. You must proclaim that day his. Something that the world stole from us in Christendom when they got kidnapped, when Christendom kidnapped the faith of our Savior. We're quicker to proclaim man's holidays and get all excited about man's holidays than we are to proclaim Yahweh's holidays. It's funny. Who started telling y'all to proclaim these things months in advance? Where we get that from? That's a familiar spirit. And we all in with it. And Yahweh's like, no, I need you to proclaim my stuff. I'm the one who provides for you. Oh, okay. Well, y'all go ahead and let them gods help you. Let them gods feed you. So when you gave your complete, watch this. When you gave your Shabbat, let me go to Deuteronomy 19, then we're going to be done. Okay, here is the part, West Coast, that I did not give to all the other places because I want to make sure you were here when we dropped it. Everybody still awake? I don't know, because I know UK might be asleep right now.
I'm awake.
Y'all still awake?
Y'all is here.
Right here.
Hallelujah. Yahweh be praised.
I'm about to show y'all how to please the Father. It will not always be easy, but it is surefire. Here is the hold and the reveal from today. Watch this. I want y'all to get this. Go to Devarim chapter 16. See, we think that we got to go to an event and there got to be fire come down from heaven. No, there was only fire come down from heaven when Yahweh was trying to introduce something. You and I commemorating that day, i.e. Pentecost, as they call it, which it should not be, i.e. Shavu'ot, we are expecting Yahweh to pull fire down from heaven and the sound of a mighty rushing wind sweeping our rooms, and all of us walk around with this big tongue of fire on our heads because we doing that. And if you don't get that, then, it was just lackluster. There was nothing. We met, we did. Yahweh don't need you to do nothing but obey what he said. You might not get any kind of frills. There might not be any pyrotechnics. There might not be anything that make you remember that day. He needs you to have your book remembered in the Lamb's Book of Life. He just needs you to obey. Stop looking for entertainment. That should have hit somebody's heart really deep. Deuteronomy 16. The church got us so amped up that whenever you come together and men of God are there and women of God are there and prophets are there and apostles and bishops are there, that God is going to fall down in this place. No, he's already in the place waiting for you to come in. And he's putting blessings in your pockets while you're sitting there. You expecting the organ to flare up and music to be as if Lucifer himself was over the heavenly choir.
Oops.
Y'all looking to be falling out all over the place, and the napkin ministry laying y'all out in the spirit. And that's what, no, Yahweh just needs you to obey. These people had to work 6 days. So after that Shabbat was over, after Shavuot was over, they went back to work. They didn't have time to be laid all out in the spirit. They were filled with the spirit. Now they carry the spirit. Oh, come on, pastors. Y'all stop hyping these people up to have these dynamic services where it's talked about and it's put on YouTube and your altar work went viral. And we done made memes out of the dances and memes out of the ashandas, all of that. Stop hyping up the service. When you give the people what Yahweh says, you ain't got to hype up and sell nothing. Somebody say just show up. Somebody say just show up.
Just show up.
Just show up. Just show up.
Just show up.
Just show up.
Just show up.
Give Yahweh what he wants. Now watch Devarim 16. Here comes the reveal. Watch this. Watch Devarim 16. I'm there. Are you there? I'm on the book. If y'all up there, come on. If you're watching online, catch this. Look at what he says. Look at what he says. Give Yahweh what he wants, y'all. Now I'm going to read 16. It's going to talk about Pesach, but I got to do it this way so y'all can see the blessing of Shavuot and how different it is from Pesach. Observe the month of Abib. Keep the Pesach unto Yahweh, your Elohim. For in the month of Abib, Yahweh, your Elohim, brought you out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice Pesach unto Yahweh, your Elohim, of the flock and the herd in the place which Yahweh shall choose his name. Verse 3, thou shalt eat no leavened bread. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith until the bread, even the bread of affliction. For you came out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of your life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with you at all in your coast for 7 days. Neither shall there be anything of the flesh which thou sacrifice the first day at even remain until the night or until the morning. Remain all night until the morning. Verse 5, thou mayest not sacrifice Pesach within any gates which Yahweh hath given thee, but it'll be at the place which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose to place his name. There shall you sacrifice Pesach at even, at going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt. In the season that thou came forth out of Egypt, at the season thou have come forth out of Egypt. Oh, y'all gonna learn this today. And thou shalt roast and eat it at the place where Yahweh your Elohim shall choose. Thou shalt turn in the morning and go unto your tents. See, they're gonna go right back to work. Verse 6 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread. On the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly in the Yahweh your Elohim. Thou shalt do no work therein. 7 weeks shalt thou number. Here we are. This is what we just left. 7 weeks shall you number, beginning with the number 7, from such a time as thou began to put the sickle in the corn. That was Yom HaBikurim. That is the first fruits of Pesach. That is Nisan 16. Verse 10, thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto Yahweh your Elohim with a tribute for a freewill offering of the time of thine hand, which thou shalt give unto Yahweh your Elohim, according to Yahweh your Elohim, as he has blessed you, as he has baraked you, as he has called you, as he baraked you. Thou wilt, watch this, thou shalt rejoice before Yahweh your Elohim, you and your sons, your daughters, your manservants, your maidservants, the Levites that's within your gates, the stranger, the fatherless, the widows, all that are among you in the place which Yahweh has chosen to put his name. Verse 12, thou shalt remember that you were a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe to do these statutes, that thou shalt observe the feast of tabernacles for 7 days after thou hast gathered in thy corn, and thou shalt reap in thy harvest and thy feast, you, your sons, your daughters, your manservants, maidservants, the Levites, the stranger, the fatherless, the widows in your gates. 7 days you're going to keep a solemn feast unto Yahweh your Elohim, and thou shalt choose, because Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you in your increase and in all the works of your hands. That's the blessing, y'all. Yahweh will bless you in your increase. I want to say it again because I said it the other night. I don't think y'all caught it. Yahweh does not bless you with increase. You sow when he says sow, it naturally produces increase. But when you honor Yahweh in the times and the seasons that he wants, watch what he says. When you honor him in the times and the seasons that he wants, he tells you, verse 15, I'm going to bless you in your increase. Wait a minute. The increase is a natural function. But when you keep Shabbat, when you keep Shavuot, when you give what I've asked you to give, when you bring me my 7 lambs, when you bring me my bullock, when you bring me my rams, when you bring me my bread, when you bring me my lambs, I am setting you up with the peace offering, the shalom offering. I am going to, these things you sow when I tell you to sow, they're going to bring you increase. But because you kept it and did it the way I said it, when the increase comes, I'm going to put my super on your natural.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
See, the church had us thinking, because we always trying to think what God is saying. We got them thinking that, oh, God gonna give you increase. No, Yahweh says, I will bless your increase when you obey me. Because as long as the earth remains, there will always be seed time and harvest. But when you sow, when I tell you to sow, I'm telling you when it's best to sow so you can get the increase. Then you give me the first fruit of your increase. You give me the tithe of your increase. And then I'm going to put my super on your increase. Somebody say that's supernatural.
That's
Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Now, I wish to goodness I could I wish my cameras worked on my thing. I got to get this fixed. But listen, let me tell y'all right now. Many of us don't understand this because we don't do what he says do, though we understand the revelation. But we still know and still don't do because we're living, as you heard me tell you the other night, when Yahweh showed me that I was still living by sight. Did that bless anybody? I was living by sight, even though I was preaching faith.
with that.
Absolutely.
And many of us have done that and are doing that, right? We've been under the teaching for some time. Literally, some of y'all 2-3 years, some of y'all 10, 20 years, some of y'all just a couple of months. But here's the catch, here's the catch, here's the catch. This is the blessing for tonight. I want y'all to walk away with this. I was living by sight. Even though I was preaching faith, I believed it, was convicted by it, but I did not labor to enter in. We thought that, okay, we would just do what we do. Yahweh says, I want to bless your increase, but your increase comes from you obeying what I tell you to give. So we're saying, well, I ain't got it, I get it, but I ain't got it. And that's fine. Don't nobody have no kind of feelings about this. I don't want y'all thinking I'm coming for anybody. I don't want y'all thinking we're coming for the fact that you trying to say people ain't doing it. No, be quiet. Let your brain stop defending yourself and listen to how you can be favored. Hear this. Hear ye the prophet, so shall you prosper. And the prophet's only going to tell you the word. When Yahweh blesses your increase, it means you've obeyed him with the instruction for sowing. When he wants 2 lambs, 7 lambs, 5 lambs, 3 lambs, a lamb a day, all of that, that's a reason for it. That's what produces the increase. And when you obey it, that's when he puts his super on the natural of the increase. So now once you've got your harvest, once you've given your shalom offering, your new meat offering, and it's a lot, 7 lambs, a bullock, and 2 rams, right? That's a lot. But that's going to be your increase. And then Yahweh is going to put his super on top of that. Now, here's the point I want you all to catch. Have you guys ever heard, let me say it best this way. Verse 15, 7 days, you're going to keep a solemn feast unto Yahweh, because Yahweh your Elohim is going to bless you in all your increase, and he's going to bless all the works of your hands. Because of that, pardon me. Because of that, thank you. Because of that, you are surely going to rejoice. When I bless your increase, you're going to be re-strengthened. Now listen, 3 times a year, I want you to appear before me in the place where Elohim shall put his name and choose. All of these feasts, unleavened bread, feast of weeks, feast of tabernacles, that's when I want you to appear before Yahweh, and do not appear before him empty. Now, many of us have been doing this for a minute. Thank you all for the blessing. Many of y'all, we've been doing this for a minute, but we still seem to keep falling short, just like I did. Have you guys ever realized who runs the banking industries, particularly in America, but really very deeply involved globally into the banking, the monetary, the money issues?
Yes, the Jews.
It's the Jews. Why is that? Are we picking on the Jews? No, I love them, every last one of them, right? This is not anti-Semitic, this is just fact. There is a blessing that is in the commandments that Israel was given, and some of these post-division Jews still do. That blessing makes them a lender and not a borrower. Pay attention. Are y'all paying attention?
Absolutely.
Sir.
Undivided attention.
Yes, sir.
I really need y'all to catch this. I really need y'all to stay by your phones because I need to make sure that when it hits y'all, I want to hear the response.
Yes, sir.
Listen. So how many of you have heard? Check your mics, please. So here's the catch. Watch this closely. You guys know who runs the banking industry, right? Therefore, there are banking instruments that meet these needs of Devarim 16. You ever heard of a savings account?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So technically, everybody should have a checking and a savings account. So here is where savings accounts came from. You just didn't realize it because once they let everybody else be a part of it, they set these up in the banking instruments so they could remain compliant to that which blesses them. See, when you are doing and putting your checks in a bank so you can pay your bills, they typically recommend you have a savings account. But see, you and I did not come in with the same reason for a savings account the way that they did. When they set that structure up, they saw how they could, help other people. But their purpose for the savings account was because in Israel, they knew that every year Yahweh was asking for this, for that, for the other. So they would save to make sure they were ready when the time came. See, in Israel, if you read Deuteronomy chapters 26 and 27, you will find this out, that there are certain tithing that's done every year and every 3 years, along with your harvest tithe. So they had to save the tithe for a year. Oh, y'all didn't get that. They had to save a tithe and then render it. Listen, it will help y'all. So in order for you and I to please Yahweh, he wants this thing to mean something to us. That's why he says and gives you in advance 3 times in a year. Somebody say that's in advance.
That's an advance. That's an advance.
What he wants,
in advance. That's good.
What he wants you to do is let him know that he is first in your life, knowing you're not going to give this to him right away. But if you are saving for it, you have him in your head every day. So now your savings is calculated based on what you need to render him in Shavuot, in Yom Teruah, in Yom Kippur, in Sukkah, in Pesach, in Hakat Matzah, in Yom Bikurim. So now you are setting aside a savings account that allows you to literally take this off of your out of your checking account when your check comes in, before your check even gets there. Yes, you still give Yahweh your tithing, but you're saving towards him. Now, let me show you where this part makes greatest sense. When you are giving your tithe, when you're giving your savings account, watch this, you instantly are putting Elohim first. And the more you set your savings account up to where y'all taking out $10 a week, $5 a week, whatever it is, and you don't even miss that money, just like you take your tithing and you don't miss that, your taxes, you don't miss that to the end of the year. But the point is, you have your operating budget, you have your operating account, that's your checking account. But your checking account is also feeding into your savings account because you're saving this to give to Yahweh when that time comes. When a bank sees you have a savings account, that drastically affects your credit. And with what Yahweh wants, if you start saving up for it through the course of the year, West Coast, this is why East Coast still on here. When you start saving up for what Yahweh wants through the course of the year, you have this amount sitting in your account, and the banks see you as a responsible individual because you got savings. Now, if you're saving up for what? 7 lambs, 2 rams, a bullock, a ram each day, a lamb each day. If you're saving up for that in the course of a year, you're going to have money in your saving account all year round. The banks see you as someone they may be able to lend money to. But watch this. You don't have to get the banks to lend money to you. Listen, Yahweh said in Deuteronomy chapter number 28, he says, I will make you a lender and not a borrower. Did you know you could lend to yourself if you had a substantial savings account and your weekly bill paying got messed up? Because you've been saving this to Yahweh, it should be dedicated to him. It ain't for you to play with. It should be dedicated to Elohim. It's yours. When the time comes, you ask for it, I'll have it. But when you look at that over a month and 3 months, all of a sudden you have your checking statement coming through, but you look at your savings account, you're like, whoa. The banks also see that savings account because you keep putting into it every day, every 2 days, every week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is you're putting in there, that money just accrues. And they're going to give you a couple little pennies to go along with it. Now you got this lump sum sitting over there. I dare you to take a nickel a day and put it away and don't touch it. And then come back in a year and be surprised what you got. See, Israel did that. That's what they did. They tucked it away. They save it. Now, banking today, monetized issues, the whole banking industry has changed. They have the savings accounts because they save for their offerings. They don't come before him empty. We don't do that, but we want God to bless us, and we definitely want to get this, and we want God to do it. Oh, God, but I ain't got it because you didn't prepare for it. That's why he said, I already gave you what you need, but you didn't prepare for it. Now, watch this. The thing is, it's not even that you don't even have that amount. You don't have access to it. It is that when you do not prepare for it, you don't have it. But if you tuck that money away and then you should happen to run into a difficulty with paying half the mortgage because you had to get brand new tires because some stalkers stuck your tires, you can borrow from that savings if that time has not yet come, and then you could borrow it from yourself because you don't have it in your operating budget because you got your mortgage, your rent, your car note, and everything else coming out. It's really tight. Your food, your family, your goods, you're doing it, but you got to get some extra money, and you don't want to put it on your credit card. You might not have to, but you can borrow the money from that a little bit amount and then pay for those 4 tires. And then with the money, you can now wait for a few weeks and pay that money back to yourself. Are you now a lender and not a borrower?
That's good. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's really good.
And you know,
Yahweh be praised. Yes.
and you know you're going to pay yourself back, right? Now what happens? AMX wants to send you a card. Chase Platinum wants to send you a card because they see your savings account, not your checking. Your FICO score goes up. I know I got some real strong financial minds out here, but y'all know I'm talking in basic terms. But this basic piece right here is substantial in how you're viewed. Because if you can't hold money, why am I going to give you money? I'm going to say it again. Y'all not listening. I told y'all going to go to sleep on me, Yahweh. I said I was going to hold this back.
No.
I should have just told this in the first group. West Coast, and let me hang out here.
That's sweet.
Listen.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Really?
All right.
When you save up and don't touch it every week, you just keep walk around that corner, let that money drop in that account every week, every 2 days. Whenever you get a couple spare dollars, just put it in there, tuck it away. Yahweh, in order for me to get this to you, in order for me to give you those 7 lambs, how many of y'all, when y'all first heard out, y'all was cool at first with the 2 lambs and the lamb and the oil and stuff, but then when you read the word, you're like, but he wants more. I ain't ready. Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Right.
True.
Now, how can you? But you know that this is what pleases him, right? So now, how do we fix that? This is what I had to learn. Now, if there's a major emergency, I can pull from that which I have and not borrow money from anybody else, and then pay myself back into the account that I got to make sure is there for Elohim. And even if I'm late getting it back 2 months and then one of the fees hit me, I can pull that out of my checking that is sitting right there with me, and I can take care of what I have, and I don't feel like I let Elohim down at the feasts. How many of y'all don't want to see that you let Elohim down with his instructions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I do not.
Yes, sir.
Does this make sense, y'all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
It does. Yes. Yes, sir.
So this system right now, you just left Shavuot. Guess what? You now start preparing for next year's Shavuot. Yahweh, what is that monetized amount? Just start working towards it. Tucking away whatever it is, $5 a day, because now the all that. Listen, just start tucking away. The money is still in your control, but tuck it away because you want to make sure Elohim gets what he wants, and you don't want to let him down. That's what I do. It ain't a difficult thing when you got it sitting there waiting. Don't let the children get it. Ain't no child need no J's that important, that bad. That's why it's called savings. Leave that set there for Yahweh. And when Yahweh sees you saving for him, you are laboring to enter in. And guess what? Because there's going to come some things where you're like, well, I would like to go on a cruise. The whole family going to go on a cruise. And I got some money in my savings, but that belonged to Yahweh. Ooh, Lord, I just can't do it. Okay, well, y'all, I can't go. It's going to cost you something because you're like, that money's in that account for Yahweh, and Yahweh's been doing me and providing for me. And this cruise just came up because Johnny wanted to go. I ain't seen Johnny in 13 years. Now all of a sudden he done popped up talking about everybody's going to cruise. You know what? Let me think about this. Because when you got something, you got a little mound, you don't like to see it go down. You become a more responsible financier.
That's the truth. That's powerful.
Was this worth y'all coming back and waiting up all night?
Absolutely. More than worth it.
So now you start saving for Shavuot. Now you start saving for Pesach. You know you got 7 lambs. You know typically that the lambs what they are right now, and you know there's always going to be cost of living. There's always going to be increase, and people be losing their minds, snapping. I stopped worrying about it many years ago because people act like they don't know GDP, and most don't. I happen to do business, but there's always going to be cost of living increase. There's always going to be taxation. There's always going to be this, that, and other. Sometimes it'll reduce, sometimes it goes up. But because you started at what you knew you needed last year, when the new figure comes, it's just a slight adjustment, not some, oh God, I just can't do it. I'm not even going to show up for the service because I'm just not going to show up. I just ain't got it. But then you had everything else you in the middle of the year talking about hallelujah, amen, all this. Stop being a hypocrite. Start preparing. Who better to prepare for than Yahweh? Knowing he looks to bless your increase. Here's the catch. When he sees you saving for him, knowing it's for him, what you think he gonna do for you?
Bless.
Y'all not talking to me.
Bless. Bless us.
He's gonna help sustain you. He's gonna help sustain you because he's invested in you getting to the appointment too. That Kodesh Mikra is for you. When you come in compliance, it's like the woman, the 10 virgins. 5 were wise, 5 were foolish. But when the 5 foolish just had, the account, but they ain't have nothing in it, and the moment of truth came, they were embarrassed when they knocked on that door and they said, well, you know us? He says, no, I don't, because if I knew you, you'd be in here. Oh, that's good. So
that was good. It really is.
The 10 virgins, they're all waiting. Now the bridegroom is coming. The bridegroom is coming. The meal, the marriage of Sukkah is coming. The bride is coming to take, the bridegroom is coming to take his bride in Sukkah. And now the moment of truth is here. And you've had all this time to prepare. You had a form of an eligible one, but you denied the power of being one. That's like single people around here today trying to fill themselves with so much word. Won't do it, but will demand that whoever they're going to be with does it. They talk in good single ministry. They talk in good, mature ministry, but they ain't trying to do it themselves. They will, though, demand that others coming into their lives do it. So their form of godliness makes others who have maybe now started doing the godliness will make them think that they doing it, and they not doing it. So you got 5 virgins who hanging out with the group, but they ain't really doing what the group is supposed to be doing. And they get embarrassed the day that he comes. They're like, hold up, wait a minute, he here already? Wait a minute, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared. Wait, let me go. And they go down the street. They said, you need to go down there and knock on the door and get yourself some more. You should have been ready. We were ready. Why weren't you 5 ready? It's 10 of us. I can't share with you because I don't know how long he's going to be gone. You know this is supposed to be personal. Watch this. Your worship is personal, y'all. Listen, you ain't going to never say this word again the same way. Your worship is personal, y'all. Your worship is personal. What is worship? Your obedience to his word. It is not church driven. It is personal. Everybody in your church got the same exact words, and everybody got to do it themselves. So when those 10 virgins were sitting there and those 5 that didn't have it, the 5 that did have it, they went with the heralder. They went into the door, no problems, no questions asked. But when those other 5 came back after scurrying about to go get their oil, they were late. And when the door shuts, it's like Noah in the ark. Yahweh shuts that door, ain't nobody getting in. And then they knocking on the door. Wait a minute, I got my church dress on. I knew you was coming. Wait a minute, hold on. Knocking on the door. Hey, I just didn't have any. He says, dear heart, did you love me? Yeah, I love you. Did you keep my commandment? Well, I mean, I was in there. I heard the commandments. I got the stuff. I just didn't have enough oil, and my wick had to be done. I didn't do my wick. So you didn't. So you were working, not my word. You were working iniquity. You were too busy for me doing you. And now I'm here for you, and you're not ready to come with me because you was doing you when I told you to prepare for me. Y'all ain't got to like me. I'm going to keep teaching this as long as I live. You ain't got to
Gotta
like
be
me and
hurtful to
talk.
those birds.
That was good. Amen.
And they say, well, you know me. You know me. They knocking on the door. You know me. You know me. You know my family. You know me. He was like, listen, the question ain't whether I know you. The question is, if you knew me, you'd be on the other side of this door.
Wow.
That part.
So I want to help all of y'all. 4 months. You got the Feast of Sukkah. You got 4 different times you're prepared to render. Each render you give is a seed Yahweh's instructing you how to sow, because each season renders a different blessing. Sukkah gives you, does anybody know what Sukkah gives you? I'll cheat for you. It comes in the spring. Does anybody know what your compliance to Sukkah does for you?
Yes, sir.
Somebody tell me. Say your name.
Oh, this Pastor Michael.
Go ahead, brother.
Sukkah set you up for Pesach.
What's the blessing in Pesach, y'all?
Mm-hmm.
What's the blessing?
Freedom.
What's the blessing in Pesach, y'all?
Freedom.
That's
Harvest.
the
rain,
function.
the rain.
Hold, no, say your name.
Rain.
Hey, say your name. Say your name. Hold, slow your roll. Say your name. I want you to hear. I want to hear it, but say your name. But Brother Ben, that is the function. Freedom is the function. But what's the blessing? All right. Who was trying to give answer?
Shirley.
Who was it?
Shirley.
Hey, Shirley, what you got?
Adonai.
Okay. Adonai is how it comes, because his word is what you must obey. It will give you freedom. But what's the blessing?
See Marie.
See Marie, go.
The former, the latter, and the present rain.
Oh, wait a minute. It's rain? Water? It's water?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wanda, what were you going to say?
The latter rain and the former rain.
There's 3 rains. The rain, the season already naturally has. The latter rain, he gave you in advance to see how you would handle the seed he gave you. And then he's going to give you the former rain he gave you moderately, the rain that's due in that season, he's going to make sure it come. And then he's going to give you the latter rain, meaning the rain that should come after, but he's going to put it all in the first month because you was obedient in the 7th month. Because you need rain in the spring. Y'all gonna get this in a minute. When you sow that lamb in the spring, you need the rain for that seed. And Yahweh causes for you to have that manifest, take place in your world and in your life. Are y'all learning anything here today? I need to know y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. Hallelujah.
So that's the promise. Oh, y'all don't believe that's the deal? All right, let me help y'all. Look at this. Let's go to Yoel chapter 2. Yoel chapter 2. Everybody, come on, hurry up. I'm gonna put my Bible up on screen so y'all can read it too. Yoel chapter 2. 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 Y'all there?
Yeah.
Yoel chapter 2. Now, Yoel talks about the marriage supper of the Lamb, because it's the Father's feast of when, in fact, he's going to send the Son to come and marry his bride. Verse 1, blow the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. The day of Yahweh comes. Y'all see that? For it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and gloominess, right? Verse 3, fire is going to devour them. Verse 4, the appearance of them is going to be as the appearance of horses. Verse 5, let's go down to verse 12. I want to talk from 12. Therefore also now says Yahweh, turn ye even now with your hearts with fasting and weeping and mourning. Well, there's a fast that Yahweh does in Sukkah. This is what it is. But verse 13 says, don't fast like you usually fast in Isaiah. He says, I want you to rend your heart, not your garments, and turn to Yahweh your Elohim. He's gracious. He's merciful. He's slow to anger. He's great of kindness, and he repents him of the evil that you should have fallen you for the disobedience you've been performing. Verse 14. Who knows if he will return? Listen, y'all, watch this. Y'all want to talk about these offerings and how you get Yahweh to help you? Who knows when you, verse 13, rend your heart, not your garment? Who knows if Yahweh will return and repent because he saw you rend your heart? Be real with yourself and not your garment. Try to play churchy. Who knows if he will return and repent and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering, unto Yahweh your Elohim. Well, why would Yahweh leave an offering himself unto himself? Verse 14 says, who knows if Yahweh, when he sees one who has returned to him or is now honoring his word and knows that they're not prepared for the feast that's coming up when he's going to be here, how do you know if he won't turn around and then drop a blessing for you so that you have the meat offering and the drink offering for Yahweh your Elohim? I don't know why it's so quiet on Clubhouse.
Good question.
So he says, watch this, verse 15, blow the trumpet in Zion. Y'all come on with me, say this. Say that's Yom Teruah. Say Yom Teruah.
Yom Teruah.
Okay, verse 16, come on, say it quick, say it quick. Verse 16 says, gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast, let the bridegroom go forth out of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. This is the marriage, guys. This is the marriage. Verse 16, I want y'all to say this with me. Say Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, suck the breast, let the bridegroom go forth from the chamber and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests and the ministers weep before the porch and the altar. Say, spare thy people, Yahweh, and give not your heritage over to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore say they the people, where is their Elohim? Then will Yahweh be jealous in his land and pity his people. Then will Yahweh be jealous for his land and pity his people. Yea, Yahweh will answer and say unto the people, behold, I'm going to send you corn. I'm going to send you wine. I'm going to send you oil. Wait a minute. Are they working for this corn, wine, and oil?
No, sir.
So all they had to do was keep the feast, and Yahweh would give them the corn, the wine, and the oil. I think I'm learning something today. And not only will I send you corn, wine, and oil, but it says, and they shall be satisfied with it. And I will no longer make you a reproach among the heathen. When you start getting your savings account set up, the people that you've been running from, your FICA scores, your TransUnion scores, you will no longer be a reproach to them. You will be an attraction to them. And now they want to give you money. The issue is you still need to be disciplined enough not to just take the money because you got access to more capital, but you will have learned, should you do it rightly, how to govern finance. So you can be a blessing because he has blessed you.
Amen.
I will no longer make you a reproach among the heathen, but I will remove off of you the northern army. All right, verse 21, fear not, O land. Verse 22, be afraid, you beasts. Verse 23, be glad, you children of Zion. Rejoice, for Yahweh has done and given you the former rain. Listen, verse 23. I'm in Yoel chapter 2, verse 23. Listen, be ye glad, you children of Zion. Rejoice in Yahweh your Elohim. Be re-strengthened in Yahweh your Elohim. Watch this. For he has given you former rain, moderately, You know what that means? He gave you former rain moderately. The word moderate here, it's not coming up. There you go. He says, I have given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain. There are three different rains. The first rain was the moderate rain, which was the former rain, because he tested you with what he wanted to see, not tempt you. He wanted to see how you would manage what he gave you. And clearly, Israel did not manage the rain well. So Yahweh says, I love you enough because you're rending your heart, not your garments. You're coming back to me when I say come. You're at the feast when I say be here. I'm going to give you what I gave you before. I'm going to give you that back because now I think you understand it. Oh, by the way, I want to make sure the rain comes down in its due season. And because you need to get caught up again, I'm going to bring the latter rain in. I'm going to put all three of those rains that are necessary in the spring for you, for your harvest to produce. Verse 24, proof of it. He says, because your floors will be full of wheat if I do that, and your vats will overflow with the wine and the oil I said you're going to have. Oh, and by the way, I'll restore the years of the locusts that they eat, and the cankerworm and palmer worm and all that stuff too. I'll restore all of that stuff. Oh, verse 26, and then you'll eat in plenty. Now it's going to take you a minute. Mind you, this blessing didn't happen overnight. This blessing was given and promised in the 7th month. Their action was done in the 7th month, and then it came in the 1st month. And then for that rain to actually cause the gestation and cause the germination of the seed that he'd given them, and the rain that he's making sure happens, it harvested in the summer. Are y'all learning anything?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm like,
He says, your floors will be full of wheat, your vats will overflow with wine and oil. I will restore the years of the palmer worm. Verse 26, you're going to eat in plenty and be satisfied. And because of what I did, I got a funny feeling you're going to be praising my name because I'm dealing wonderfully with you. And guess what? When you do that, my people will never be ashamed. You guys are just one good cycle of not displeasing Elohim away from no longer being ashamed about your credit score, about your renting of an apartment, about your shaddy or your not shaddy, but your hoopty. You ain't but one season away from Yahweh making you no more ashamed amongst your peers, who you know you have the mentality that's better than what they do, but Yahweh, you like, I'm ashamed of what I've got. I'm ashamed of what I don't got. Yahweh is telling you, my people shall never be ashamed. Look, he tells you again, verse 27, and you shall know that I am in the midst of Israel. Somebody say, I'm Israel by faith.
I'm Israel by faith.
So what does that mean? He says, so what's that mean? What it means is he's saying, you shall know that I am in the midst of you. And that I am Yahweh, your Elohim, and nobody else. You'll know I did this, and you'll know it because you obeyed me to the point where I showed you what I said I would do. And my people, here it is again, my people shall never be ashamed. And then after that, I'm going to pour my spirit out on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters are going to prophesy. Your men shall dream dreams. Your sons shall see visions. Oh, and upon my handmaids, I'm going to pour out my spirit too. I'm going to show wonders in the heaven and in the earth. Do y'all get this? We doing way too much.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
We are doing way too much. We are so far away from what Yahweh wants of us. I gave y'all a whole bunch to think about and chew on. I hope this practically helps you understand how to get yourself positioned for next year. Stop being procrastinators. If you love Elohim, keep his commandments. Labor to enter in. Truth be told, if we went ahead and just tucked it away and waited for the day to come, telling Yahweh we see you seriously as our Savior, we see you seriously as our provider, Yahweh sees you being serious about him. I got so many people saying, Apostle, I just ain't have it, man. I ain't know. And I'm like, you know what? Y'all was like, have you told them what you did? I said, you know what? I didn't. Let me share with them what I had to do, because I had my head hung down. I'm teaching it and was unable to perform it because I thought he'll just give it to me a month before. No. You know it's coming 3 times. Look at what he said, y'all. 3 times in a year, you appear before me. That's in advance. He's telling you to figure it out. He's telling you don't come before me empty, and you got a whole daggone year to get it done. So each feast season sets you up for the next feast season. My job is to get you into the door, get you to the water. You got to drink. And many of you got testimonies. I got as many people saying, oh, I didn't know. And I got just as many people saying, oh my God, Yahweh has done this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other, because they've been faithful. They've been doing it. You've been putting it to him. And he is going to make sure he shows up on your behalf. Is this helping anybody, or am I just sitting down here?
You are helping.
This is where we need to be. So, you know, guys, I've been talking all day. My throat is really getting to the best of me. I want to keep talking because I got so much more to share.
But your body need a break. So,
Yes.
Yeah. We've done how many services in 2 days? Yahweh be praised.
Yahweh be praised.
Do y'all know what to do now? We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Do y'all know what to do now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Are we going to get all we can, but not can all we get?
Oh, no, sir. No.
Yes.
We're not doing
We
that.
will can it.
We're going to hold on to it. We're not going to let it rot. And see, then we get mad, like, you know, he possibly talking about we got did it. I didn't say a word. I just pointed you to the word. This ain't my word, but I'll tell you how I did it to honor him. And without faith, it is impossible to please Elohim. But these are not my words. They're his, and you know it. And so now we know what to do to be compliant with him. We just got to put Yahweh first. I need to fill our platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse, with I'm putting Yahweh first. His word has been given to me. It is practical to me now. I understand what to do. I am saying I do to your will. I'm putting Yahweh first. All right, Facebook, I see y'all.
I'm putting Yahweh first.
I'm putting Yahweh
Putting
first.
Yahweh first.
I put Yahweh first.
I'm putting Yahweh first.
Mhm.
Putting Yahweh.
I'm putting Yahweh first. Get it in all the chats. Make it your decree. Vinny says, well, you led me to the water. I'll be drinking it. Yahweh first. That was good, Vinny. That was good. I'm putting Yahweh first. And saints, if we're pleasing him, we're not coming short, right? That's what Hebrews talks about. Can we go there real quick? I'm going to go to Hebrews. Watch this. Look at what he says. Hebrews. And everybody said, well, you're supposed to be reading Torah. Yeah, I am. But anytime Paul writes the Hebrews, it's about the Torah. Look at Hebrews chapter 4. Let us therefore fear. Let us therefore revere. Let us revere Yah's word. Let us reverence Yah's word. Lest a promise that's being left of us of entering into his rest. Do y'all see that his rest is a convocation? It is a holy place. Any of you should seem to come short of it. I don't want to come short of his glory. See, the gospel was preached to us. The good news was preached to us just like it was preached to them. But the word preached did not profit them because they didn't mix it with faith when they heard it. Verse 3. For we which have believed do enter into rest. As he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished. Did y'all see this? Did y'all see verse 3? Did y'all see verse 3? Can anybody tell me why that's so important to understand that the works were finished before the foundation of the world? I'll cheat for you. Psalms 133. Nobody? Can anybody tell me why Hebrews 4:3 is connected to Psalms 133? No? Nobody? 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 Nobody.
Can we go back to Psalms?
Of course. Psalms 133, verse 3. I help y'all cheat. Y'all taking way too long. Psalms 133, verse 3. Somebody get there and let's read it.
I'm there.
Wanda, read Psalms 133 for me. Wanda, yeah.
Clark?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Psalms 133.
Verse.
A song of ascent.
Right.
Which verse?
Read verse 3.
Okay, verse 3. As the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessings, even life that forevermore.
Say verse 3 again. Read it.
Okay, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessings, even life forevermore.
Okay, so if I read verse 3 of Hebrews 4:3, tell me how they're connected, somebody. Say your name. For we which have believed, we enter into his rest. As he said, I've sworn in my wrath, they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundations of the world. The works are already there. They just need to show up.
Lindo, Yahweh command blessing.
Lindo, go ahead.
Yahweh will command a blessing.
Yeah, Yahweh will or Yahweh already did?
Yes, commands a blessing on your life.
Nope. He commanded the blessing. You were right the first time.
Commands a blessing on your life.
Because he commanded.
He commanded.
Not commands.
Yeah.
He commanded. That's why this is important. Although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. You and I were not here at the foundation of the world. But that day, when he made that day, he already blessed that day. He commanded blessings in that day. Every time you deem that day holy, you trigger those blessings already there to fall on you. Good job, though. You picked that up. Good job, Lindo. He commanded the blessings. These blessings are already set. Do y'all know just showing up for Sabbath, you ain't got to come in with no craziness. You ain't got to have no hype. All you need to do is show up and be there. Watch verse 3. For we which have believed, what do we do? Verse 3. Hebrews Hebrews 4:3. What's that say? For we which have believed, what do?
Enter into rest.
Enter rest.
Yeah, we enter into that rest because we get it. We know the blessings were finished from the foundation of the world. All we got to do is show up in the day, whether it's a seventh day Sabbath or it's the Moedim, and not do our own thing. That's all we need to do is show up for the day. Show up in the day, and those blessings fall upon us. Okay, verse 4 says, Hebrews 4:4, he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, and Elohim did rest the seventh day from his work. In that place again, if they enter into my rest, seeing therefore the day remains blessed, full of blessings, the day, the seventh day, any of the Moedim, they remain, that some who will believe after us will be able to enter in. And so that we can have a reference, they to whom it was first preached, they didn't enter in because they ain't believe. We need to pay attention to this. Verse 7, again, he limiteth, he harizod a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, if you will hear my voice, harden not your hearts. And by the way, for those gainsayers out there, if Yeshua had gave them rest, then he would not have afterwards spoken of another day that has the blessings of a holy convocation on them. Y'all didn't see it that way, did y'all? Watch verse 9. There remains therefore a rest to the people of Elohim. For he that is entered into his rest, that person has also ceased from his own works, as Elohim did from his. Therefore, verse 11, let us labor. That word labor is the word spudazo. Let us use speed. Let us make the effort. Let us be prompt, or let us be earnest. Let us give due diligence. Let us be diligent. Let us look forward. Let us endeavor. Let us labor. Let us study to enter into that rest. Was they specific? Did Paul say that specifically? Help us, let us labor therefore to enter into that specific rest, lest any man should fall short, lest any man fall after the same example of those people in Moshe's day.
That's clear.
It is clear, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Crystal.
That day of rest is the blessing. And everybody talking about Jesus is our rest. No, he's not. If he was your rest, he would have never told you to wait here for the promise of the Father. That next day, that next feast was the one you just came out of, Shavu'ot. All right, everybody. I'm really struggling to keep a solid voice here. And now I'm healthy. Don't misunderstand me. I'm just, my throat is a little bit, I think forcing it is making me, it's getting. Listen,
Rest, Apostle.
I'm going to do that. I'll be back in the morning, though. We got a whole Sabbath to go through.
Thank you.
Was this worth
Thank you, sir.
Was this worth your time understanding now what Shavuot is about. I want people to remember this. I want people to talk about this so you guys know how this is done. But remember, don't just go talking about stuff because you got a quick insight or you saw something. Make sure it lines up with the writ. And get with me. That's why we are supposed to reason together in the word. These things are priceless. Everything should be read through the Torah. It needs to be read through the Torah. All right, West Coast, y'all not mad at me this time?
No, we're not mad.
By no means.
Nope, not at all.
Thank you.
East Coast, they stayed up to hang out with y'all. Y'all know that, right?
Thank
We
you.
right here.
Thank you, Apostle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Apostle.
Thank
We
you. We're glad we're
appreciate
here.
you, East Coast.
I know that the UK over there struggling right about now. They like, man, look here.
They up now.
I don't know where the UK at. I don't know. I think they up. They might be brushing their teeth. But that's a joke. That's some fun, y'all. Yahweh be praised. All right, we'll be back in a few hours to get some more into it. Y'all listen. Don't think. Listen. Listen. Stop thinking every service you're a part of is going to have fireworks. Sometimes it's not an external demonstration. He makes the fire work in you.
That part.
So when you come together, stop thinking, oh, it's got to be a high time in God. No, he said it this way. Yahweh speaks in the still small voice. It's not in the thunder. It's not in the thunder. It's not in the lightning. It's not in the wind. It's in the still small voice. I think that's why I stopped squalling and hollering when I would preach. Now there's passion, but then there's the art of doing it. Whereas we scream loud, and just matter of fact, the more louder you are, you think that you're right because you're loud. Or and here's something that's a parallel. Can I teach y'all something real quick before I get up? Before I get off and go get me some tea.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Free.
Being loud is also tantamount to being loud is also tantamount or paralleled with much speaking. Anytime you got to say a whole bunch to say nothing, you trying to convince yourself.
Right there.
That's a loud talker. And most people who are loud talkers and angry with it, they're trying to convince themselves. When you know what you know, you flow. It's just there. Hey, you ain't got to believe it. You know,
That part.
you ain't got to believe it. You ain't got to believe it. If you are just talking loud and that's parallel to a person who just talking a lot. Ain't saying nothing but saying everything. That's right, Danielle. I saw that meme. That was good, Danielle. I like that.
That's a song.
Do y'all understand that? I like that.
Yes.
I like that, Dana. Dana M. Jenkins. Dana M. Jenkins.
Yes, that's good.
Yes. Dana M. Jenkins says, I can show you better than I can tell you. Real talk. And if you know it to be true, you don't ever listen. If you know Elohim, Messiah never defended Elohim. He dropped it like it was hot, put it right there on the platform and said, here you go. Now, this is what you're supposed to do, but this is what you're doing. Oh, you mad now? Oh, you big mad now. So now you're going to attack my character. Oh, now you're going to come from my mama. Okay, I see how you going to do. Okay, well, look, you little viper. Okay, go back and read it again and then come talk to me, you know? And when you know it, you don't have to, don't defend the word of Elohim. Don't ever defend the word of Elohim, because you make it look like the power of the word is in your power to defend it. I'm going to say it again. Whenever you defend the word of Elohim, you make the word of Elohim in the sight of who you're defending it with look like its power is in your ability to defend it. And Yahweh don't need you to defend his word. He needs you to live it. That makes sense, y'all?
That's so good.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, it does.
All righty. I think I'm gonna be done. Anybody have any thoughts? Pastor Spencer, you still up? Yeah, I think she's still up. Anybody got a thought before we get off? Prophet Mike, anything you want to share? Any leaders, moderators?
Yes, my thought is it's time for you to rest.
I second that.
Thinking that myself.
I third that.
Agree.
I third it. Go to bed.
Concur.
Concur.
Agree.
Rest.
Thank you for the teaching.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Yahweh be praised.
Now listen, y'all. One last thing. We never do what we expect. We never. I always say people never do what you expect them to do. They only do what you inspect of what is expected. Now, in truth, we never do what we expect ourselves to do. We only do what we inspect of ourselves to do. So let's start giving ourselves an expectation of truth and then inspecting ourselves. Yahweh said this very clearly. This is a revelation. Somebody get this so you can teach it. If you become faithful over a few things, I'll make you ruler over much. Now, see, some of y'all going to hear that and think, oh, that's how I become great. I got to be faithful over a couple things and God will make me ruler over much. Your whole attitude is wrong. Your whole motive is wrong. Please don't pick up that charge. What he is saying is, when you're faithful over what I give you, I can trust you with more should I need to use you for more. We do that and we're expecting God to use us. See, I'm faithful over little things. God gonna use me for big things. He may not. You just be faithful over what he gave you. Stop hoping to be the next great thing on a platform. Stop hoping to be the next great voice, because the great voice is quiet. It ain't always talking. It ain't always jumping. There was a guy at an award ceremony some years back. He was a record producer on the West Coast. Then there was a record producer on the East Coast. And the West Coast producer got up at an award he had just won. He had a very big crew of artists. And so did the other record producer. But he got on the microphone and took a very nasty jab at the other producer on the East Coast. And he said, if y'all want to come over to a record company that value y'all and don't have the producer all in the video, singing all on the songs. They taking all the glory, all the credit. Just be faithful over a few things. Yahweh will make you ruler over much. All right, I know y'all too old to know what I'm talking about. Y'all too old. I'm gonna stay young forever.
We know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
I know what you're talking about.
Prophet Mike, can you pray us out, my brother?
Yes, sir. Yahweh, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we come before your holy presence this moment in time, closing a wonderful feast season, saying thank you for the opportunity to be used by you, to glorify you, to give unto you in this, your feast season. Father, we just thank you. And we thank you for being mindful of your people. We thank you for helping us. We thank you for blessing us with insight and knowledge. Oh, Father, we know that sometimes we get caught up in the tangible things, but thank you for being an Elohim who is bigger than we can imagine. We just bless your holy name this moment in time for considering us. We bless your holy name for helping us understand you better. We bless you for even using those such as your apostle for helping us understand your word down to the smallest detail. Father, we give you honor and glory for just who you are. Now we ask you, Father, to increase your spirit in us. Give us more of you. Not let us be satisfied with the little we've gotten. Give us more of you. We'll be faithful. That's our promise to you. We will be faithful unto you. Just be who you are. We bless you. We thank you. Thank you for this moment of rest. Thank you. Now, all of your people who are honoring your day of rest, Father, be and do what you said you would do.
Yes.
Give unto them. No. We're not trying to command you, Father. That's not our place. But we are holding you to your word. Yes. So we thank you. We love you. We honor you. In Yeshua HaMashiach's name we pray and we say, Amen.
Amen.
Elder Rogers, would you give the benediction, please? Elder Rogers. All right. Elder Rogers, are you there? Okay. Minister Jackie, are you there?
Shabbat shalom to everybody. Yes, Apostle.
Could you give the benediction, Numbers chapter 6?
Will do. Amen. Let me just get to it. The Lord spoke to Moshe. Tell Aaron and his sons how you are to bless the Israelites. Say to them, may Yahweh bless you and protect you. May Yahweh make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May Yahweh look with favor on you and give you shalom. In this way, they will pronounce my name over the Israelites, and I will bless them. Thank you, Yahweh be praised.
Well, everybody, it's been a joy and a pleasure. We will see you guys tomorrow. We pop up. I hope that you're all ready. But remember, start laboring to enter in. You now have the tools you need to please the Father a long time off. Shalom Aleichem to everyone. And thank you, all you leaders, pastors that helped with this programming to make it what it is today. Thank you so much. Shalom Aleichem. This room will end in 5, 4, 3,
Shalom.
2.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom.
everybody.
Thank you, Apostle.
Love you to life.
Let's talk kingdom. He's the one you